So we have finished up night 3 here at Deer Creek, and as you can see, we're a little bit of everywhere. You know? Alright, let's take a look at it before we go to town here. Alright, so you saw. Alright, so here we go with Sigma Oasis, the opener, the title track of the new album, right here on Rock 95 out of Noblesville, Indiana. So after the title track, Sigma Oasis opener, we move on to the curtain. Ooh, just the curtain, no width there. So after that, you know, that's a nice little jam. Anytime you take curtain, it's still a nice little song to have, with or without, you know? All right, so then we get into a nice little Mike's Groove right here with a My Soul right in the middle. Kind of a surprise hit right there in the first set. And I would say out of the Mikes in the week of Paug, I think Mike's kind of won the battle there. Had a nice little jam there. It kind of raced into the jam in week of Paug, but then we get on to Mercury. Hadn't got a Mercury yet this year. It's coming through in the first set there. 46 days. I was like, all right, you know, this is a nice solid 46 days, but it's not, this is different, you know, it's not kind of, again, not the build to the peak, and then, you know, they're wrapping up 46 days, and then they kind of do a little Yui, go back in, quick build into a peak, and it's like, all right, there's our first set peaky jammers. We get one right there in 46 days. Probably wasn't going to get it, but then boom, ending strong. Follow that up with Taste, the first one, and then, ooh, the new Mike Gordon song, another new Mike Gordon song, Casual Enlightenment, getting the treatment here on the whiteboard. Not going to shorten that, you know, in the future we may shorten that. So, and it felt like it's got the potential. I think we may see this one again, the Mike song. You know, it seemed like as they were wrapping it up, boy, going into this Bowie here, it seemed like it had some potential to be a nice little Phish jam there at any point in the show. And then we get, you know, once they got to the jam and David Bowie, you know, we got the bing, we got the bell and Bowie, and once we got the bell, it was on. And then the first set with the Bowie there. So we go from Sigma down to Bowie over here, and then starting the second set out with Bathtub Gin, you know. Had kind of become a comfortable first setter now, and after the other night, it's going to be tough to top that. But anytime I'm taking a Bathtub Gin in the second set, boom, we're happy with that. Moving down on the Waves, and then a quick, whoa, you know, Waves nice. We got solid Waves there. You know, the jam none of the jams really got going too deep, too long. You know, maybe that was what? Maybe a little 20-minute combo right there. And then into Ghost, it felt like about a 20-second Ghost. We got a 46 days tease in there somewhere. Quickly going from a weird sounding Ghost into Sneakin Sally. Sneakin Sally starting to groove there a little bit, and then again, kind of felt like they just weren't going to go real deep with these jams in the second set. Kind of the whole second set was just going to be kind of rolling together here, silly nonsense Phish kind of set. And then 20 years later it had kind of a bit deep of a kind of a dark, deep, heavy jam. You know, that 20 years later jam, you know, you're either on board or you're not. I like 20 years later, so it was a welcome addition right here. Its first one, probably the only one we're going to get out of the summer. Sucked to break up the Sneakin Sally party. We didn't totally break up the Sneakin Sally party. You know, Trey was talking, you know, they were thinking, then Ghost worked its way back in throughout, you know, then Waste coming out of nowhere, like, what? You know, it felt like we were getting a jammy set here, then Waste, and then they get right back to it, you know. Most events aren't planned, kind of telling the story there. So, then we get a little bit of a, with the twist, I think they were still bringing back Ghost a little bit. Since the Ghost was so brief and short, they kind of felt like they had to keep bringing it back. Then we get into a Makisupa. The Makisupa goes right back into twist. It wasn't much of a Makisupa, you know. Talk that, oh yeah, he referenced Sally in Makisupa. That was the key there. No specific strain or anything. Gotta watch it in Indiana. Then we got a little brief Martian Monster back into twist. So they're playing around with twist through this whole deal here. And then we get back on track. We get things settled, you know, from Ghost all the way down here till Twist. It was a bit of a train wreck. It was all cool, and then they took a little break for Waste right in the middle. You know, pit stop and who knows where. So then most events aren't playing. All right, you know, Mike got his chance to show off here, right next door. Paige definitely doing the Paige boogie for most events aren't playing. And then, oh man, I was not feeling good. I was very upset when we got the more encore here. Not the more encore, but the more set closer. Even with Trey throwing in some Bathtub Gin chomper nonsense in there, I was like, come on, man, that's where we're supposed to get our slave. What are you doing to us, you know? All right. So we get us a gin here, topping the more. Wasn't getting it done. And then Contact, but then very lovely. Oh, boy, and as he says, we got a little theme here. Contact into Slave. I hope you didn't leave. If you're like me and you sometimes bounce on encores, not the deal, because Slave to the Traffic Light, finally. There it is. Boom. Ending your third night at Deer Creek. Woo! So as you see, man, really, while all of this was good, you didn't have that big one that delivered, you know. 20 years later was really fun. You know, I like that song. That was cool. The new Gordon song, I don't know, man. That first night, you know, they came out of the gate so strong that first night. What were you going to do, you know? It's going to be tough to follow that act. Take one lady. You saw what it looked like at the beginning there, right? Yeah, I was just kind of stalling to do that. All right, guys, boom. We get a night off. The band gets a night off. They're moving on. Boom. Thanks for stopping by. You guys rehydrate, get down in Hershey.